Typically, I'm someone who tries to stick to his guns when it comes to the type of entertainment I consume. I don't always watch the popular movies if they don't interest me. When it comes to what's popular in the world of music, I couldn't tell you because I don't really listen to the radio much. Whenever I find a new song I enjoy, it's usually because my music app recommends similar music to the stuff I'm already listening to. And when it comes to games, I'm fairly similar. It always surprises me to see stuff that's nominated for Game of the Year because they're games I don't give much thought to, and that's more the result of gaming being a huge part of my career. It's not that I'm unfamiliar with the titles that win awards or anything, I just can't squeeze in playing God of War or The Last of Us Part 1, the second one, or whatever Control was. As much as I'd like to, I don't always have the time to play the newest mainstream game made by XYZ AAA studio because I'm busy playing Sonic the Hedgehog for the 14th goddamn time this week. But there is also an admittedly petty reason I don't check games out sometimes. It's because everyone, and quite literally sometimes their grandmother, is talking about them. And you would think that for a career move, it'd be what you want to do, right? Capitalize on a game's popularity to drive more engagement towards your channel and direct the audience to your other content, and yeah, I get that, but it's a practice that always seemed shallow to me. I love video games and I love making videos for you guys, but covering a game just because it's popular when I have zero interest in it, all for the sake of views, just... I know it sounds dramatic, but it kinda kills me inside, because now I have to pretend to be invested in and care about the game I'm playing. And that doubly sucks when an end product that you worked on for hours gets lost in the vast ocean of content that others are producing on the exact same topic. So, why am I telling you this? What the hell does that all have to do with Pizza Tower? Is it because I don't like the game and don't want to cover it? No, not at all actually. I originally wasn't going to make a video on it because it seemed like a game that was a lot more gameplay focused and so wouldn't fit the style for an Everything Wrong with pastiche. Granted, I hadn't played it yet, so I didn't exactly know that, but from how my friends were describing it, that's what it sounded like. And we played the game together over on our group channel, Minus World, with all of us controlling Peppino by pressing a button assigned to us. That was my first experience with this game, and this was not what I was expecting. From just looking at art and screenshots, I thought this was a complete joke of a game. And it's not that it's not, but there was a lot more there than I was expecting. I had a few people ask me to cover this game and Everything Wrong with, and now I was kind of interested, especially because it seemed like it was a game that was pretty challenging, not too different from the likes of, say, Cuphead. That's another one that's largely gameplay focused, but that I managed to make work. And the more I played Pizza Tower, the more I realized I can't do this. I can try if you guys really want me to, but I don't know how you guys are gonna get anything out of me with this game. Not because I think it's flawless or anything, but because it lacks the material I need to make a video like that. A story I can scrutinize? It barely has one, especially with how few cutscenes there are. Inconsistencies I can point out? I mean, dude, have you looked at this game? What about it is consistent? Game elements like gameplay mechanics or level design I can critique? I mean, sure, but it'd be like a 2-minute video. Things about it I can make fun of? Trying to make fun of Pizza Tower is like trying to make fun of Adult Swim bumpers. You can't. They're surreal and weird because they're designed that way. All it would be 20 minutes of me saying, huh, that's weird. Wow, the noises just discount the Noid. Huh, that's weird. Getting P ranks can kiss my ass. Huh, that's weird. And it's only weird in the context of convention. The game doesn't really have a set of rules to follow for me to think anything in it is strange or out of the ordinary. No logic for this world to abide by. When I did a video on Battle for Bikini Bottom, people got on my case for applying logic to SpongeBob on the basis that it's a cartoon, and that should mean it's exempt from criticism. But it's not like I was asking why SpongeBob is a kitchen sponge instead of a sea sponge. It was more along the lines of, in one scene you can clearly see that there's fire underwater, and then in another they're talking about how that would be impossible because they're underwater. I can suspend my disbelief and not poke fun at it, but I can also call you out if you're not even following your own rules. And the reason I bring this up is because Pizza Tower is by and large pretty unproblematic when it comes to that. You have sentient ingredients, but then you have pizzas that are sentient in and of themselves. How does that work? There are cows in this world, but they're like normal cows, and then the food that comes from the cows are cartoony. Why's that? That's about all I got for you. Like, normally I do my best to have those videos either make you laugh, make you think, make you relate, hopefully all three sometimes, but this is a case where I can't be funnier than the game already is. I can't make you think because the game is at its best when you don't think at all. And as for relating to my experience playing it, that's really going to depend on what you like about this game and video games in general. While I wouldn't personally put it on my list of top favorite games of all time by any means, I really enjoyed it for what it was. It's one of those games that can be supremely annoying, but that's also simple enough to get the hang of pretty quickly. As a result, when you start performing well, it feels incredibly satisfying to tear through the stages, but the second you mistime an input, get hit, grab onto a wall you didn't mean to grab onto because you forgot to let go of the run button, but you didn't want to let go of the run button because you didn't want to lose all the speed you'd build up, it feels devastating. And okay, that's an exaggeration, it's mostly just annoying, but you get my point. In fact, I'd argue that making mistakes isn't as big a deal as we might think it is. It mostly just feels that way because of how frantic everything is. I swear these levels feel like they're 2 to 3 minutes long, but when I look at my final time, I apparently somehow spent 10 minutes in there? As I played through the game, a thought crossed my mind. This game is so weird, why not make the everything wrong with weird too? Like, what if it was an everything right with, and the sin counter just goes down? But that didn't feel creative enough, it just felt like the opposite, and I didn't want to give people the impression that I chose this, of all games, to sing high praises of. So I moved on from that idea to making everything I love about video on this, but that didn't feel like the right move either, because everything I'd want to talk about can be explained in just a few short sentences. The animation is fantastic, especially for something that looks like it was hand-drawn in MS Paint. The music is catchy as hell, the optional objectives are fun to complete, the bosses are fun to fight, it's got great replay value, and it's one of the most creative things I've played in a while. And of those, the only thing I can really go in depth with is the animations, such as how fun it must have been to animate everything, especially given how certain keyframes are, how fluid everything looks in spite of that, and the art style, how well everything reads visually. That's the one I was most impressed by. I love how you can tell that some of the music was inspired by the likes of Wario Land and Wario World, not just the gameplay. There's also a little bit of Sonic in there, particularly in the Pig City, which happens to be the level that introduces the rail grinding. I can hear the Starman theme in the Oh Shit level, which is funny because it's the level with the green pipes. I love Gustavo and Brick. I love how their core gameplay mechanics are similar to Peppino's, but different enough to justify them being separate characters. Speaking of which, I love that Peppino's abilities are also unique and memorable. I think that limiting them to specific levels makes them even more so because it makes it easier to associate the power-ups with the levels themselves. Not all the levels are winners, but for the most part they're well designed, evidenced by the fact that they're easy to learn and traverse with only a few playthroughs. Some of the things I wasn't as much of a fan of. The hub worlds sometimes felt a little confusing to navigate. Like, they're not huge or anything, and I get why they're laid out the way they are, but sometimes finding a specific level got me messed up just because I couldn't really remember how to get there. Some of the levels' assets look really similar or colored similarly, so it kind of makes it feel like there's less level variety sometimes. Some of the secrets are a little too well hidden, especially in the later levels. I wasn't a huge fan of the gun in the normal levels because I was used to grabbing enemies and using the grab mechanic to kickstart my momentum, but maybe that's just a personal one. I liked it in the boss fights though, it was pretty fun then. I also liked the use of the tower itself as a final level, with Peppino picking up and having to face everything we've dealt with throughout the game. That was really neat. I like the pizza sonas in the secret rooms. Those are a cool way to thank the biggest Patreon supporters. Circling back to the power-ups, I like that despite them being themed after either the level or food, they all still feel useful. It's tough to call them situational because they're specific to the level they appear in. They don't show up sporadically whenever any level calls for it. Like, in how many games can you say that it was fun to turn into the flying pizza box that can spin into the enemies? I love that the power-ups aren't just goofy, but that they're functional and fun to use. The more I think about it, and the more I talk about it, I really enjoyed this game. Maybe not as much as most people did, but still a fair amount, and I think that's why I really wanted to make a video on it. Not just to strike the iron while it's hot or whatever, but to share in people's enjoyment of a fun game. But giving it a full review isn't something I do, and a traditional what I thought about felt, I don't know, excessive? None of my video formats felt right, and it was always either not enough or too much. Which is funny because now that I think about it, playing this game is kinda like that. You either have too much speed or not enough. This is a weird video, but this game is weird, and much like it, I hope that you enjoyed it, listening to me navigate my thoughts and what actually goes on in my head sometimes. It's funny, this ended up being more about how I didn't know what to do with the Pizza Tower video than about Pizza Tower itself, and yet I feel like I said everything I wanted to say about it. I mean, it's not that deep, so I guess neither should this video be. That being said, I hope you had a good time, and I'd love to read your thoughts in the comments. I like getting new perspectives on things like this. Maybe a mechanic in particular you enjoyed, or a specific level. I'm not sure what kind of video this will end up being, but I do like it when we share and hype things up that we all collectively enjoy. Until next time, hopefully in a less awkward one, stay safe and stay awesome. This is Char5, signing off.